this is going to be an interesting watch because, as much as I believe I know the entire timeline of Dragon Ball, I'm a huge fan. There's a possibility I might not. You know, it's always those moments when you think you know everything about a certain subject, you get surprised. You're like, oh dang, I didn't know as much as I thought, and I want to see if that's the case when it comes to Dragon Ball. Now, I love this channel. Hold up.
Dragon Ball's timeline
No, stop. Carthu's, if I say the name wrong, I apologize. But Carthu's Dojo, great Dragon Ball channel. Definitely go subscribe to him. But I love how he breaks things down, and he actually teaches me things as well that I'm like, huh. You know, I see it from a different point of view than the view I had, which is cool because at the end of the day, this is all fun, and it's cool to have an open mind to it because you might learn something. And I learn stuff when I watch his videos, so I want to see his take on the Dragon Ball timeline explained. So definitely go check him out, especially if you're a Dragon Ball fan. Shout out to him. I'll put your original video in the description below. Let's check this out. This video is long, so I'm going to do my best not to pause too much. But it is a reaction, so let me give my thoughts.
Dragon Ball's timeline begins a long time ago, over 150 million years before the first age. To be clear, ages are the term for years in Dragon Ball. The universes are formed, all 18 of them at the time. People say Zeno created these universes, but we have no reason to actually believe that. He rules over them, but creation and ruling aren't the same thing. You also have the potential birth of
That's
Buu,
a good point.
not Majin Buu yet, due to the lack of Bibidi.
I thought they were the ones who created it, but that's a good point.
Created by Bibidi, like the manga says, or existing since the universes began, as Toriyama said in an interview, are conflicting claims. The only way to reconcile these ideas is that Buu existed since Universe 7 was created, but Majin Buu was created when Bibidi took control of him. This should also be the time period that the Super Dragon Balls were made, by the dragon god Zalama. The Divine Calendar isn't very well explained, but considering the creation of the Super Dragon Balls happened in year 41 and 42 of the Divine Calendar, which seems extremely early, it should be in this section of the timeline. Jumping to around 75 million to 150 million years before the first age, we have some contentious event placements, with Moro's first appearance being 10 million years before his Dragon Ball Super arc, and Majin Buu's first attack being 5 million years before the events of Dragon Ball. You can calculate a minimum age range for
I was about to
both
say,
Elder
goodness
Kai
gracious,
and
that's a lot of
Beerus.
time.
You see, Elder Kai is 15 generations before Shin, but what makes a generation for a Kaioshin? Well, in this case, we have two options: 5 million years or 10 million years.
Goodness
Shin
gracious.
clearly wasn't around for Moro's first attack, but Grand Supreme Kai and South Supreme Kai were, both of whom were removed from their positions prematurely by the attack of Majin Buu. So if we use a 5 million year generation, we get a 75 million year old Elder Kai, and with a 10 million year generation, we get a 150 million year old Elder Kai. We also know that Elder Kai was sealed away in the Z-Sword by Beerus, making Beerus a similar age range of 75 million to 150 million years old. Remember though, this range for Beerus is based off of Elder Kai, so it's possible Elder Kai wasn't Beerus's first Kaioshin. Also important to note that Beerus changes who his life is connected to when a new Kaioshin is appointed, which is why his life is connected to Shin's and not Elder Kai's or Grand Supreme Kai's anymore. This is also the period in time where Namekians are first confirmed to exist in Universe 7. You see, Elder Kai knows about the Dragon Balls and Namekians, meaning they existed during his time. This would also mean that potentially in his lifetime or sometime before it, the Namekians entered Universe 7 from their original realm as described in Dragon Ball Super. Finally, this is where I would tentatively place the erasure of Universes 13 through 18, as that event seemingly happened in Beerus's lifetime. Then we jump to 10 million years before the first age. This is where we have the previously mentioned first encounter with Moro, where the Grand Supreme Kai seals away Moro's magic.
I look forward to the animated show of Moro. That's going to be good.
This does also cost most of Grand Supreme Kai's godly power though, which is going to be an issue in 5 million years when Majin Buu, who is currently under Bibidi's control, attacks the 5 Supreme Kais. While Shin, the East Supreme Kai, manages to escape and live, the others weren't so fortunate. The West and North Supreme Kais were killed, while the South Supreme Kai and the Grand Supreme Kai were absorbed by Buu, forced to remain alive, but left in a perpetual slumber. Afterwards, Bibidi goes on to destroy hundreds of worlds, but Buu was too much for him to control all the time, so when he needed a break, he would seal the monster. Eventually, Earth became Bibidi's next target, and the sealed Buu was brought there. Luckily, Shin was able to kill Bibidi before Buu could be released again, and Majin Buu was left sealed in a shell on Earth. Shin didn't dare to move the creature in case it would break the seal. That's right, the coolest shit that Shin's ever done was off screen. Then we jump forward
because ain't
a
much
lot
that brother
to
does
roughly
that looks
200
cool.
to 300 years
That is
before
cool.
the first age, based on Vegeta's 1,000-year statement. The first Super Saiyan, Yamoshi, appears. He is not a Super Saiyan god like some people incorrectly say, but I've already covered that in another video. Yamoshi rebelled against the increasingly evil other Saiyans alongside 5 comrades. When the rebellion was failing and his back was against the wall, he transformed into the first Super Saiyan, wiping out countless opposing Saiyans before eventually running out of energy and being killed. After Yamoshi's death,
They should do an
Soul
animated
wandered
movie
the
of that.
universe in search of 6 Saiyans to perform the ritual to make the new savior of the Saiyans, the Super Saiyan God. Now we get into
They
the
should do a whole
number games, which are
animated
gonna be
movie
a
of
little
that.
bit easier
That
to
would be
explain,
sick.
starting with age 261, when a storm ravaged the entirety of planet Namek. One Namekian named Kata sent his child to Earth in a spaceship to save him from the devastation. This was the nameless Namekian, who would eventually become Kami and Piccolo. In age 450, Master Roshi begins his training with Master Karin, and in age 453 is finally able to obtain this sacred water, thus completing his training with the god of martial arts. Age 461 is the year that Kami becomes Kami, the god of Earth. The title Guardian of Earth is just a dub thing to avoid the use of religious connotations. This would also be around the time that he dispelled his evil half from his body in the form of Piccolo Daimao, which is why this is the same year King Piccolo was sealed by Master Mutaito, the martial arts master who originally trained Master Roshi and Master Shen, who dies as a result of using the sealing technique. With King Piccolo finally sealed, Master Roshi makes sure to personally bury the rice cooker containing the Demon King deep in the ocean floor, where it can hopefully never be opened again. Then, 9 years into being Earth's god, in age 470, Kami creates the Dragon Balls, something he does to fulfill some sort of racial memory, as opposed to making them entirely from his own
I gotta
design.
watch Dragon Ball
Then,
again. There's
sometime
so much
around
I've
age
forgotten.
550,
It's
Planet
been so long
Zidala,
since I
the
watched
original
Dragon
home
Ball.
of the Saiyans, is destroyed in a Saiyan civil war. With no world left to call home, the Saiyans invade Planet Plant. Eventually, they conquer the new planet and make it their new home, with the finishing touch being to rename the world Planet Vegeta.
Vegeta.
Then, 100 years later, in age 650, we have the very first Tenkaichi Budokai on Earth. At this point, the new tournament series was scheduled to happen once every 5 years, as it wasn't as popular as it would become later on. While this may not seem too important, this event's inception sets up many of the most important story events in the entire series. Then we finally get to the 700s, which is where most of the events of Dragon Ball actually take place. Let's start with age 732, where we get the birth of Dragon Ball Super's Broly and Vegeta the Fourth. Remember, Vegeta is 5 years older than Goku, and it's even reaffirmed in the movie as well, so while Broly and Vegeta were next to each other in their pods, Goku was yet to even be conceived. This year also marks the retirement of King Cold, and the transition of leadership to his son Frieza, who is now in charge of the Saiyans. This is also when
Mount
Broly's
Rushmore of
power
villains.
is deemed to be too big a threat to King Vegeta's rule, and so he's exiled to planet Vampa. His father Paragus following closely behind him on a stolen ship with Beats on board. Though Beats is ultimately killed once Paragus discovers they're trapped on planet Vampa and they need to conserve resources until they're rescued. Then, 5 years later, in age 737, Goku is born. But unlike what most people think, this isn't when planet Vegeta actually gets destroyed, since that date was likely retconned. In Dragon Ball Minus, Goku was stated to be in his incubator for 3 years, so that would mean the destruction of planet Vegeta would be in age 740. Now, I will preface this all by saying that age 737 could still be the year that planet Vegeta was destroyed, since Dragon Ball Super Broly doesn't say how long Goku was in the incubator for. But Beerus' prophecy of the Super Saiyan God makes that really unlikely. You see, Beerus receives the prophecy of the Super Saiyan God from the Oracle Fish 39
You know what's funny?
years.
I understand why Beerus was asleep a long time. I don't know if y'all forgot, but Whis will be talking about how Beerus was asleep for countless times for a long time. I would understand if you're living that long. When after they just explained the timelines for the Kais and Beerus and all them, if you're alive that long, it could be boring what you do, especially what they do the same thing for all them years. I would sleep for centuries as well. Hearing that, it's like, goodness gracious, that's a long time to be living, and Yeah, stuff would get bored after. I would find a place to just sleep too. I understand Beerus even more now.
Years before the events of Battle of Gods, which would be age 739. And since Beerus didn't know if Frieza destroyed the Saiyans while he was asleep or not, the destruction of planet Vegeta in age 740 still makes sense, or at the very earliest 739 if we just use the prophecy and ignore Minus entirely. Regardless of if it's 739 or 740, this time period is when all of Dragon Ball Minus happens, and it's also when Jocko the Galactic Patrolman, the actual comedic prequel series, takes place. This portion of the timeline is where things become a lot easier for you to follow and for me to explain, because it covers most of the main series that you've already watched or read. But there are a few time skips here and there that I'll have to cover that might not be as clear. However, I already made
By the way, shout out to him. He puts a lot of work in these videos. I love giving flowers as early as I can, and I want to give it to him. Not just in this video, but so many other ones. This brother does his homework, the editing, everything. This brother puts the time in. Definitely go subscribe, like his videos, all that stuff. You know, and if you see this video, Carthus Dojo, sorry again if I said the name wrong. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. You put a lot of work into this.
Time skipping Dragon Ball, so I'll be brief in this one. Go watch the other video if you want that information. In between age 740 and age 749, we have the death of Grandpa Gohan at the hands of Goku. Notably, Gohan knowing of the Ozaru's existence implies he saw and survived it at least once, which should mean he was either caught off guard or let himself be killed, either being extremely tragic. This is also the time period when Bulma creates the Dragon Radar and collects the 2 and 5-star Dragon Balls on her own. She found the 2-star Dragon Ball in her basement and the 5-star Dragon Ball in a cave north of West City. In age 749, the entire Pilaf arc up to Goku training with Roshi takes place. Goku meets Bulma, Roshi, Oolong, Yamcha, Puar, Chi-Chi, the Ox King, and Krillin this year. This is also the year for the very first wish on the Dragon Balls in the series, and it's for a pair of underwear. Then in age 750, a lot happens. It starts with the rest of Goku and Krillin's training, the entire 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, which Goku loses to Jackie Chun, and the entire Red Ribbon Army arc. Importantly, this is the arc where Goku trains with Master Karin, the god of martial arts, and reunites with Grandpa Gohan for one final time, when excluding anime filler, that is. The events of this year end when Goku goes to travel the world for 3 years to train for the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament. This is where we get our very first time skip in the series, a 3-year time skip between the 2 Tenkaichi Budokais, and it's the most common length of time skip in Dragon Ball, so get used to it. So in between age 750 and 753, Goku is traveling around the world and training as instructed by Master Roshi. Krillin and Yamcha train under Master Roshi directly to prepare for the tournament, and Roshi trains in secret as well to re-enter the tournament under the alias of Jackie Chun. Finally, age 753 encompasses the entirety of the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai, which Goku once again loses, but this time to Ten Shinhan. It also contains the entirety of the Piccolo Daimao arc, ending with Goku beginning his training on Kami's lookout. This year also includes the first deaths and resurrections of Krillin, Master Roshi, and Chaozu. Once again, we have a 3-year time skip till the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai. Between age 753 and 756, Goku trains with Kami and Mr. Popo to defeat the reincarnation of King Piccolo. At the same time, below the lookout, Ten Shinhan, Krillin, Yamcha, and Chaozu climb Karin's tower to train with the god of martial arts, eventually leaving the tower to travel the world and train on their own to refine what they've learned. Once we reach age 756, Piccolo Jr. and Goku have their final battle, ending in Goku's victory and his first ever win at a Tenkaichi Budokai. This is also the year that Goku and Chi-Chi get married, and they do some other stuff too. The next year, age 757, is when Gohan is born, specifically May 18th, according to the Daizenshuu timeline. This is, of course, during another time skip, the 5-year time skip between the end of Dragon Ball and the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. So in between age 756 and 761, Yamcha and Bulma break up, Ten Shinhan trains while traveling the world, and Lunch chases after him, never to be seen again. Once we're out of the time skip,
that was the one I always wondered. I'm like, whatever happened to Launch, bro? Whatever happened to her? She was a good character for the show. Oh, sorry if you heard that. But also, just like how I mentioned, I would love an animated movie of the first Super Saiyan. I would love to see what happened, obviously, outside of making Gohan. I would love to see that 5-year span of the end of Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, the adventures of Goku and Chi-Chi, because one thing I hope the writers start doing now is giving more light to the romance of Goku and Chi-Chi. I hated how in Super Goku he was written so dumb where he didn't even know what kissing was. It was like, bro, your son is a grown man married with a kid and you still don't know what kissing is. So when that stuff is weird. And it's like, you think about it too, he didn't know what that was, but you see before that situation in Goku Black when he asked Trunks what that was, you see a picture of him at Gohan and Vidal's wedding. Am I wrong? Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, because I think it was like Goku had a suit on holding Gohan like this. So that means he saw him kiss Videl when he said, "You may kiss the bride." And you didn't know then? But forget all that. How do you not know? I personally, I always say that doesn't exist. Yes, it was written like that, but no, Goku knows what kissing his wife is. Like, I already feel bad for Chi-Chi of how much Goku leaves her to go and train, which I understand why he does it. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, don't do Chi-Chi like that where Goku hasn't even kissed his wife all these years. So, hopefully they write their relationship better. I love Goku and Chi-Chi. It's just that there's a lot of times Goku be doing Chi-Chi wrong. I hope they fix that. But also, I would love to see that 5-year gap of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, of Goku and them getting married and stuff like that. But yeah, just some of the personal things.
Is the year that Raditz attacks the Earth and is killed by Piccolo. Goku sacrifices himself so Raditz would die, and so he also dies for the first time. The year ends with Tenshinhan, Krillin, Yamcha, Chaozu, and Yajirobe training with Kami and Mr. Popo before traveling the world to train on their own with what they've learned. A trend in Dragon Ball if you haven't noticed. At the same time, Goku travels Snake Way, but due to Raditz arriving at the end of Age 761, he doesn't finish his journey this year. It's important to mention that the Daizenshuu timeline that I keep referencing for this video is an amalgamation of a bunch of different continuities in the series. I'm focusing on the manga here, so things like the humans training with Kami in 762 and not 761 isn't really reflected in the manga at all. If anything, it's implied they started training a few days after Goku's death. Just wanted that to be clear going forward. But let's move to Age 762, which is a pretty damn busy year all around. Goku finally arrives on King Kai's planet to train, learning the Kaioken and Genki Dama during this time. The Z-Fighters continue their training until Nappa and Vegeta arrive on Earth. The rest of the Saiyan arc takes place, and this arc marks Goku's first revival. Yamcha, Tenshinhan, and Piccolo die for the first time, while Chaozu dies for the second time, meaning Earth's Dragon Balls can't revive him. Goku arrives at the battlefield and defeats Nappa, who's killed by Vegeta. In the later half of the year, the entire Frieza saga takes place, as well as the Super Saiyan form reappearing for the first time since Yamoshi. Vegeta dies and is revived for the first time. All the Namekians die and are revived, though the Grand Elder dies again shortly after being revived. Notably, Namekians of Elder Suno's village aren't revived due to them being killed by Vegeta. This is also when Krillin is killed for the second time and Piccolo is revived for his first. In the following year of Age 763, Cell arrives in the main timeline in Future Trunks' time machine, which was pre-programmed to arrive in this age for some unexplained reason. During this year, Yamcha and Tenshinhan are revived for the first time, Chaozu and Krillin are revived for the second time, and importantly, all revivals were done with the use of the Namekian Dragon Balls. Afterwards, the Namekians leave Earth for New Namek, though. Going to Age 764, Future Trunks arrives and kills Frieza, giving him his
Super
first
Trunks,
death and killing King Cold as well.
I like
Goku
Z Trunks
arrives
way
back
better.
on Earth and is informed of the android threat by Trunks, which kicks off the entire Cell saga. But that's not all, because we have a future timeline to discuss as well. In Age 764 of the future
This guy's
timeline,
detailed.
Goku
I like
uses
it.
instant transmission to teleport to Earth, and he kills Mecha Frieza and King Cold on his own. In both timelines, we have another 3-year time skip from Age 764 to 767. In the main timeline, everyone trains. Notably, Vegeta doesn't train in space like the anime mistakenly shows, but instead, he trains in the newly built gravity room on Earth that he requested. Goku, Piccolo, and Gohan train together, and in the manga, Goku is a Super Saiyan for this training. In both timelines, though, Age 766 is the year that Trunks is born. But later this year in the future timeline, Goku dies of the heart virus due to a cure not existing yet. Then things get hectic for both timelines in Age 767. This is the year that Mr. Satan earns the title of Strongest Under the Heavens by winning his first Tenkaichi Budokai, the 24th. It's unclear if he won the tournament in both timelines or just the present, though. To quickly cover the future timeline, this is when androids 17 and 18 appear, killing all the Z-Fighters except future Gohan, who barely survives and with Bulma's help tries to gather the Dragon Balls to fix things before Piccolo dies. But they're too late as the Pilaf gang uses the Dragon Balls to wish to be young again. Then Piccolo dies and so does Kami, making the Dragon Balls inert. permanently. In the present,
That's
the events of
crazy.
the Cell Saga take place. Notably, the introduction of forms beyond
those
Super
three
Saiyan,
people
like
messed
the
up
Super Saiyan
everything for
Grades
Gohan.
and Super Saiyan 2. This is also when Kami and Piccolo merge into one again, with Kami being replaced by Dende as the god of Earth, so they'll still have Dragon Balls. This is also the first death and revival of Future Trunks and Android 17. But more importantly, this was Goku's second death. Even if Earth's Dragon Balls could revive
That
him,
scene
they
still
can't,
hurts.
by the way. He wants to stay dead since he feels like he attracts threats to the Earth, and also believing that Gohan is more than capable of protecting the world in his absence. Then,
Yeah.
at some point later this year, Goten is born. Following the Cell Saga,
But
we
Gohan
have the second
doesn't
longest
stay
time skip
focused.
between manga chapters in the entire series, the 7-year time skip between the Cell Saga and the Buu Saga, which takes us all the way to age 774. In between age 767 and 774, a lot happens off screen, like Krillin and Android 18 getting married in age 770 and their daughter Marin being
That's
born
another
in
one I
age
wanna see more
771.
details
At some
of.
point, Goku and Vegeta teach themselves Super Saiyan 2, with Goku going further beyond and creating Super Saiyan 3. Then there's age 774, the year the Buu Saga takes place. This year has Mr. Satan win his second Tenkaichi Budokai ever, the 25th. That means this guy's won twice as many world tournaments as Goku. Notable events to keep track of here are Vegeta's second
Different
death and his
situations,
sacrifice
though.
against Buu, and Goku's second revival, and Elder Kai's first death, sacrificing his life to revive Goku. The entire Earth is destroyed by Buu along with everyone on it. The only ones to escape are Mr. Satan, Dende, Goku, and Vegeta. This time it's easier to say who didn't die. The Earth is later restored with the Namekian Dragon Balls alongside all of those who died.
You know what I was so mad about with that was we'd never seen Gohan. I really wanted to see Gohan versus Kid Buu going all out. I wished that I know Goku and Vegeta are like the dynamic duo, but for Gohan to go through all that, because we spent a lot of time in the Buu Saga to see Gohan get his new powers, and for him to be stronger than Super Saiyan 3, Friends and I used to debate that maybe Kid Buu would have no chance against Gohan. If Gohan went all out, didn't get, full of himself a little bit like he did against Super Buu, yeah, I think Gohan would have won that no problem, because people tend to forget because of how Gohan acted when he returned to Earth. They forget how powerful he actually was. He surpassed Super Saiyan 3, so that was something that we never got to experience, of Goku saving Gohan, and for Gohan to, obviously wake up and fight Kid Buu himself and say, "Dad, let me do this. I messed up against Super Buu, not because I was weaker, it was because I got, sloppy and let him absorb Gotenks. Let me get that payback." And I believe Gohan would have won with not much struggle. That's just what I just something personally I wish I had to see.
Including
I wanted to
characters
see
that died
that.
directly to Buu. Also, Vegeta gets revived, and even Elder Kai. Luckily, since the Namekian Dragon Balls were used, any character that's already been revived was able to be revived again. After the Buu Saga, there's a 2-year time skip to the 2008 Yosun Goku special in age 776, which can be regarded as part of the main Dragon Ball continuity, as it reveals to us that Vegeta has a living
I gotta
relative
watch
in
that
the
again.
form
I
of his
forgot that
younger brother,
story.
Tarbal, who is casually mentioned in Dragon Ball Super Broly, as well as the introduction of Goku's job as a radish farmer. But more importantly, Toriyama's direct involvement in writing this OVA story pretty much solidifies it as canon, so I don't know why anyone says that it isn't. After the OVA,
gotta watch that
another
again.
2 years pass before we get the Battle of Gods arc in age 778. This year is the first time the Super Saiyan God has ever occurred. This is the year that Beerus finally wakes up after going to sleep for 39 years, and it's also assumed that this is the year that Gohan and Videl got married.
There's the picture.
Then in age 779, we have another busy year. It begins in the resurrection of F Arc, when Goku and Vegeta begin to train under Whis. Vegeta and Goku learn how to use Super Saiyan God at will and merge it with their Super Saiyan form to make Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, aka Super Saiyan Blue. Frieza is revived for the first
red
time,
transformation,
only to be
Vegeta
killed
has a
for the
better
second
look of it, in
time,
my
but not
opinion.
before training and creating a new transformation, Golden Frieza. This is also when the very underwhelming third death of Piccolo happens, and his revival takes place sometime this year as well, off screen. It's important to note he was revived with the Namekian Dragon Balls, since Earth's Dragon Balls can no longer revive him. Next is the Universe 6 tournament arc, which is the first introduction of the multiverse to most of the main cast who are from Universe 7. Universe 7 wins the tournament against Universe 6, the reward being the Super Dragon Balls for Beerus, who used them to revive the Earth in Universe 6 for his brother. During this arc, Zeno is in Universe 7 for the first time we ever know about. Just so you're aware, the anime has a use of Shenron before the tournament with Universe 6, which would push all of Super forward 1 year, but that seems like a a Toei mistake, and I wouldn't take it too seriously. Remember, the Dragon Ball started working again after only 8 months in original Dragon Ball, so an early Shenron use has happened before. Then Future Trunks returns to the main timeline
Goku
once
Black.
again. The entirety of the Future Trunks
I
arc
love the
happens.
Goku
main
Black
timeline
arc.
ends up with another Zeno as a result of the destruction of Trunks' timeline. The Zamasu of the main timeline dies here before gaining immortality. And finally, this is also the arc that introduces Super Saiyan Rose and Super Saiyan Ikari, at least in the anime.
Goku Black
to the
and
series.
Turles is one
Then
of
we
the-
get to age
one of
780.
my
The
favorites
easiest thing to mention
of
is in
villains
the future
outside of
timeline.
Frieza.
This is the year that future Gohan is finally killed by the androids, leaving Trunks as the sole protector of that timeline. In the main timeline, the Tournament of Power happens. This arc results in the erasure and revival of universes 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 10, and 11. Frieza also has his second revival in this arc. This is also the time that we see Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, the presumed grade 2 variant of Super Saiyan Blue, as well as Super Saiyan Berserker, Ultra Instinct Sign, and Ultra Instinct. You could also include the introduction of numerous character-specific forms in this tournament, but honestly, that doesn't seem too important to mention here. This is also the year that Bra is born. Later in the year, Broly and Paragus
Broly,
are found
yep.
on Vampa by Chilai and Lemo, kicking off the events of Dragon Ball Super Broly. This is the first time we see the Ikari
One of the most
form,
underrated
not to be
battles
confused
ever,
with
him
the
against
previously
Vegeta.
mentioned Super
Can't
Saiyan
believe
Ikari
Goku interfered.
And Broly's full-powered Super Saiyan, not to be confused with the official name of Super Saiyan Grade 4. With that, we get to the manga-only
This
arcs. With
is the shows I'm looking forward to, is both of them arcs. I don't know how long it's going to be, but that's why, as much as I'm going to watch Daima, I think that's how you said the new Dragon Ball show coming out where they're all kids. I'm going to watch it, but I wish they spent that time to get these shows up, because this is going to be good. This is what I want.
Previously mentioned Super Saiyan Ikari and Broly's full-powered Super Saiyan, not to be confused with the official name of Super Saiyan Grade 4. With that, we get
Right
to
there.
the manga-only arcs, with the ancient evil Moro freeing himself from prison. There is a ton of vagueness with the timeline placements here, but I'll do my best to explain it. While the Moro arc likely starts in age 780, it possibly extends into age 781. We know that some time has passed. People think the arc starts right after the end of Dragon Ball Super Broly due to Goku teleporting back to Earth, seemingly following the end of the movie where he leaves Vampa, which is fine, but there's an unspecified amount of time between Broly being teleported back to Vampa and Goku checking in on him. There's also a 2-month training section in the middle of the arc, so that's why many, including myself, believe it bleeds into age 781, especially considering how much has already happened in age 780. Then the Granola arc gets even more confusing. The arc starts a few months after the Moro arc. Then later a few weeks pass, then time passes, which is the worst, because saying some time passed is used to say there was a 4-year time skip between the Buu Saga and Battle of Gods at the beginning of Dragon Ball Super. Personally, I think this is a bigger time skip than people make it out to be because of the Granola arc's ending happening at the same time as the events of Superheroes beginning. That would mean, even though we first see Granola in age 781, the arc itself shouldn't conclude till mid to late age 782. This will make more sense as we move into Superhero though. You see, there's a 9-month gap in Dragon Ball Super Superhero. The 3-month prison sentence of Dr. Hedo and the 6 months afterwards that he used to create the Gammas in Cell Max. So the events of Dr. Hedo's arrest.
And that is why somebody was like, why did the movie didn't have Goku and Vegeta handle that? It wouldn't have been a movie. If Goku and Vegeta went over there to handle that Supercell or whatever you called them, I forgot, it would have been nothing. You would have had Ultra Ego Vegeta. I don't know if you can see it. I have a picture of him right there. Or in the Ultra Instinct, which I don't even think they'll need to get that far. That's why even in the movie you saw them just fight basic level and then you saw Vegeta 1. Gotta mention Vegeta 1 because I'm a Vegeta fan. Something I always mention is that, to be real, technically, Vegeta's never lost against Goku. Vegeta's always won. I just say that because I have friends who are Goku fans and saying there's better than Vegeta. I don't agree. If Goku hasn't beaten him, yes, you can say, well, it's because he lost. He lost. That's all I gotta say.
By Goten and
You can say what you want about it.
In age 782, while
But
the
yeah,
major
Vegeta and
events of
Goku
the
was in that
and arc,
movie,
like
it
the
wouldn't have been
battle
a
against
movie.
Cell Max or Goku and Vegeta's sparring match take place in age 783. This is why Granola has to have a bigger time skip than we thought, especially since everyone hasn't seen Goku or Vegeta in a long time. And more importantly, Pan's age means that the major events of this movie or arc have to happen in age 783. But that's not where the timeline ends. The main timeline, for now, ends 1 year after Dragon Ball Super Superhero in age 784, when the 28th Tenkaichi Budokai takes place and Goku leaves the tournament early to train Oob, who is the reincarnation of Kid Buu. The future timeline also continues.
Hopefully Super does some more justice. I did not like how he was in GT. Like all that training, he lose to
Android threat.
Anyway,
age 785 is when we get a new timeline to talk about, Cell's timeline. In Cell's timeline, Future Trunks returns to use the blueprints of the androids he found in the main timeline to deactivate and destroy them. In the future timeline, Future Trunks comes back after the defeat of Perfect Cell, leading to him killing the androids.
One of my favorite parts in Dragon Ball Z, that's the Trunks I like.
Cell awakens in both timelines. In the future timeline, Trunks is strong enough to kill him outright.
Easily.
But in Cell's timeline, Trunks is no match for Cell, leading to him being killed and Cell stealing the time machine to absorb androids 17 and 18. Sometime around age 795 in the future timeline,
y'all think
Future
Cell would
Trunks
ever
is
make a
trained
comeback?
by Supreme Kai. They face off against Babidi and Dabura, stopping the resurrection of Majin Buu, but at the cost of Supreme Kai's life and subsequently Beerus's life as well. This is also the year in the anime that Goku Black goes around killing all the Supreme Kais of every universe, leading to the death of every god of destruction and the deactivation of every angel. Then in age 796, the events of the Future Trunks arc play out in the future timeline, which is the majority of what you watched or read. This year marks the end of the future timeline as Zeno completely erases the whole timeline. Notably, 2 other timelines are created as well. A branch of the main timeline where Beerus doesn't erase Zamos, and a branch of the future timeline before Goku Black appears that Future Trunks and Future Mai choose to live in, alongside their alternate timeline counterparts. So that's where it
That's
ends.
weird
Age
to look
784
at.
for the main timeline and
Imagine
age
having dinner with
796
yourself.
for the future timeline, with a couple of other timelines thrown in there along the way. Once Dime is out, I'll update this timeline to include it once we know where it actually takes place in the timeline. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. And
Yeah, he's really good at what he does here. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. But yeah, I like this. I did learn a few things. But like I said, there are some projects I hope one day they make. But honestly, I'm ready for those last arcs, Moro and I can say the name wrong, Granola. You know what I'm trying to say. I look forward to those arcs coming in animation. Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. Or do it even better, make them into movies like the Broly movie. Just like the Broly movie, because I prefer the Broly movie over the superhero. I like the animation of Broly's better. But yeah, oh bro, actually that'd be a lot better. That would sell tickets for theaters. Make both of them a movie, and so, and if you want to do it as a show, that's cool too. But movie, that would be sick. Anyway, shout out to him. Make sure. Wait, did I like his video? Yes, I did. Make sure you subscribe to him and so on and so forth. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll see you later.